Dear students, good morning. After studying the structure of tRNA with reference to the process of protein synthesis, we shall be now moving to the next topic, and that is translation process in the protein synthesis. As you know, the protein synthesis essentially consists of two steps, or these two steps are called central dogma of protein synthesis. The first step is transcription, in which DNA produces mRNA molecule, and the second step is translation, in which mRNA produces the polypeptide chain or protein molecule. In the first step, transcription, we have already studied this step in details. What happens? The sequence, the information about protein synthesis possessed by DNA means which how many amino acids are there in a particular polypeptide chain, which types of amino acids are there, and in what sequence they are arranged. All this information is called as genetic information, and this information is given from DNA to mRNA, and formation of mRNA from DNA is called as transcription, and this process occurs inside the nucleus. Then mRNA, after producing mRNA, the mRNA is released from the nucleus. It goes out through the nuclear pores on the nuclear membrane and passes into the cytoplasm, where it will perform its role on the special type of particles present in the cytoplasm. These particles are called ribosomes. So the site of protein synthesis, the place where proteins are produced, is the ribosome particles inside the cytoplasm. Same mRNA molecule, the same mRNA molecule moves over many ribosomes, and multiple molecules of the same polypeptide can be produced. Same mRNA, after passing over one ribosome, it will move to another ribosome. It will pass over that ribosome. In this way, the same mRNA molecule passes over many ribosome particles, and formation of the same polypeptide chain occurs on every ribosome. So, a large amount of that particular protein, whatever amount is needed by the cell, large amount of that particular protein can be produced using the same mRNA again and again. And once the function of mRNA is over, it is destroyed. And which enzymes are used for destruction of nucleic acids? mRNA, DNA, all these are the nucleic acids. And the enzyme nuclease can bring about the destruction of the all types of nucleic acids, so also that of the mRNA. Okay. So now let us refer to our textbook to study this process of translation. Okay. So please open up the page number 83. Here we shall see the definition of the translation given in our textbook. Okay. Now see, on page number 83, on the right side at the top, you will find this title. The title is translation. Okay. So what can be the definition of translation? See, translation is the mechanism in which codons of mRNA are translated and specific amino acids in a sequence form a polypeptide on ribosome. So, what is the meaning of translation? The codons of mRNA, which are the triplets of nitrogenous bases. These codons are the triplets of nitrogenous bases, and the translation occurs. How does it occur? The nitrogenous is in place of nitrogenous bases. What will be there in the polypeptide chain? What is there in mRNA? In mRNA, there is sequence of the nitrogenous bases, and these triplets of nitrogenous bases are called codons. And what is there in the polypeptide chain? in the polypeptide chain there is sequence of the amino acids. There is sequence of the amino acids. The sequence of nitrogenous bases on mRNA is translated into the sequence of amino acids in the polypeptide. So what is translation? Sequence of the nitrogenous bases present on mRNA is translated into the sequence of amino acids in the polypeptide. This is what the translation process is, and this produces the protein molecule. This produces the protein molecule. So in the first step of protein synthesis, that is transcription, DNA produces mRNA, and in the second step of translation, mRNA produces protein molecule. mRNA produces protein molecule. Okay. Now here this third sentence is also important sentence. See, RNA serves as intermediate molecule between DNA and protein. RNA serves as intermediate molecule between DNA and protein. mRNA, this refers to mRNA. mRNA serves as intermediate molecule between DNA and protein. Protein means polypeptide chain. So original information, if you remember, the original information of protein synthesis is possessed by DNA. The triplets of nitrogenous bases on DNA are called codogenes or codogenes, and they are translated into the triplets on the mRNA, and this production of mRNA from DNA is called as transcription. And thereafter this occurs in the nucleus, and thereafter in the cytoplasm, sequence of on the mRNA is translated into the protein, which occurs on the ribosome particles inside the cytoplasm, and this process is called translation. So middleman is mRNA. Intermediate middleman between DNA and protein is mRNA. So mRNA serves as intermediate molecule. It serves as intermediate molecule. What is the significance of this? DNA has also got the genetic information like mRNA. DNA is also having genetic information. Then why is it necessary to produce mRNA from DNA? Why DNA does not produce protein directly? Why DNA does not produce protein directly? Why there is need of forming the mRNA first and thereafter protein from the mRNA? The reason is the protein synthesis process occurs in the translation process occurs in the cytoplasm, and if DNA comes in the cytoplasm, it is located in the nucleus, as you know, but if this DNA comes in the cytoplasm for the protein synthesis, there are lot of enzymes in the cytoplasm. Thousands of chemical reactions can occur in the cytoplasm, and there are different enzymes present in the cytoplasm, and there can be action of these enzymes on DNA which would alter, which would change, which will harmfully affect the structure of the DNA molecule. So DNA will be destroyed, or it will be damaged due to the action of the enzymes present on the cytoplasm. So DNA remains safe inside the nucleus, and instead of going in the cytoplasm, it itself does not go in the cytoplasm. Instead it produces mRNA, and it is mRNA which is transferred into the cytoplasm for the protein synthesis process. And mRNA is also acted upon by the enzymes. Once the function of mRNA is over, it doesn't matter if it gets damaged by the different enzymes present in the cytoplasm, because many mRNA molecules, as and when required, they can be produced anytime by the DNA inside the nucleus. So it doesn't matter as far as the security of the cell is concerned. If mRNA molecules are destroyed, it makes no difference to the cell, because cell can produce many mRNA molecules from DNA. Original copy of genetic code, original hereditary information is possessed by DNA, and to keep the DNA safe inside the nucleus, it is the mRNA molecule that is being produced by the DNA, and it is sent in the cytoplasm to protect DNA from the action of the enzymes which would otherwise cause damage of the DNA inside the cytoplasm. Okay, so this is why there is need of the intermediate molecule mRNA. This is why there is a need of intermediate molecule mRNA. Okay. Now the process, see here, the mechanism of translation is given here at the end of page number 83, and how many steps are given here? Initiation, first step of translation means first step of polypeptide chain formation is first is the initiation, second step is elongation, and third step is termination. So there occur three steps: initiation of the polypeptide chain, this is the first one, second one is elongation of the polypeptide chain, and third one is the termination of the polypeptide chain. Okay, and now we shall see we shall study all these three steps one after another in the details. Now see how the translation process actually occurs. I will explain you with suitable diagrams how the translation process actually occurs. Okay. Now see, when mRNA comes in the cytoplasm, in the cytoplasm, the ribosome particles are actually in the form of two pieces. There is a large piece of ribosome, and there is a small piece. The large piece of ribosome is called larger subunit. This is called larger subunit, and the small one is called smaller subunit. In case of prokaryotic cell, which is smaller cell, primitive cell, bacterial cell. In case of prokaryotic cell, the smaller subunit is called 30S subunit. It is called 30S subunit. The larger one is called 50S subunit. And when these two subunits they join, a complete ribosome is produced. By joining both these two subunits, the upper large subunit called larger subunit and the lower one smaller subunit, they join, and this complete ribosome is called 70S ribosome. It is called 70S ribosome. Okay, so you must remember this as far as the MCQ questions are concerned. In the cytoplasm, initially in the cytoplasm, ribosome particle exists in form of two pieces. Every ribosome exists in the form of two pieces. The small piece is called as smaller subunit, and the large one is called larger subunit, and they come together, they attach each other only when the translation process begins. When there is no protein synthesis on the ribosome, when protein synthesis process is not going on the ribosome particle is not intact particle. That time ribosome particle is not intact particle, but it remains dissociated. The two subunits remain separate. The smaller and the larger subunit. What you must remember is the smaller subunit for bacterial cell, prokaryotic cell is 30S, the larger subunit is 50S, and the total ribosome, when they get assembled, when they get attached to each other, the total ribosome is called 70S ribosome. It is called 70S ribosome. Okay. And in case of the eukaryotic cell, has got little larger ribosomes, and the larger subunit as well as the smaller subunit both are larger as compared to the subunits present in the ribosome of the prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell is larger complicated cell, and its ribosomes are also larger than that of the prokaryotic cell, and the two subunits of the ribosome, the smaller and the larger, they are also larger. Okay. In case of eukaryotic ribosome, the larger subunit The larger subunit is little larger than that of the prokaryotic cell, and this subunit is called the larger subunit, and the smaller is also larger. The smaller subunit is also larger than that of the prokaryotic cell. The smaller subunit of the eukaryotic cell is called 40S. For prokaryotic cell, I told you it is 30S. The smaller subunit. But for eukaryotic cell, the smaller subunit is 40S. The larger subunit is 60S. The larger subunit is 60S. That for the prokaryotic cell, I told you it is 50S. It is 50S for prokaryotic cell, but for eukaryotic cell it is 60S. And when these two they get attached to each other, they assemble during the protein synthesis process. When the translation process begins, both these two pieces they join together to form complete ribosome, and that complete ribosome of the eukaryotic cell, the complete ribosome of the eukaryotic cell, this is the complete one, it is called ATS ribosome. Okay. So for prokaryotic cell, the bacterial cell, the smaller subunit is 30S, the larger subunit is 50S, and the complete assembled ribosome is 70S. And for the eukaryotic cell, the complicated larger cell, that of the plants and animals, the eukaryotic cell, which is advanced type of cell, has got larger ribosomes. The smaller subunit is 40S, the larger subunit is 60S, and the complete ribosome of the eukaryotic cell is 80S ribosome. Okay. So the ribosome exists in the form of dissociated pieces, okay, before the beginning of the protein synthesis. Now see, when mRNA is produced inside the nucleus through the process of transcription, this mRNA now comes out into the cytoplasm, and at first mRNA, which is long linear molecule, and it is straight, molecule, that is why it is called linear, and it has got all these nitrogenous bases. The group of 3 is called triplet. This is one triplet, this is another triplet, this is still another. So there are many triplets of nitrogenous bases on the mRNA, and what these triplets are called, you must remember it now, they are called codons. These triplets are called codon triplets. Okay. This mRNA now, straight molecule of mRNA, it first joins to the smaller subunit of the ribosome. Okay. So now see, this is the smaller subunit of the ribosome. And it gets attached with the mRNA molecule. This is a mRNA molecule. Okay. So in this way, there occurs attachment of mRNA to the smaller subunit of the ribosome, and this needs an enzyme called as initiation factor. There is attachment of an enzyme. Called initiation factor, and when this initiation factor gets attached to the smaller subunit of ribosome, then only this mRNA can join. So this enzyme is called initiation factor. Initiation factor. There are many initiation factors, the enzymes required for initiation of the polypeptide process, and all these enzymes are called initiation factors. So factor refers to the name of the enzyme. Okay. Now in this way, there occurs the attachment of the mRNA to the ribosome using the enzyme called initiation factor. Now after this attachment, the attachment occurs in such a way the attachment occurs in such a way that the codon called start codon, the codon called start codon on mRNA, it lies perfectly to the P site, the initiation codon AUG, initiation codon of mRNA. As you know, when studying the genetic code, I have explained you the initiation codon AUG always codes for methionine. It always codes for methionine. Okay, and this particular codon on mRNA, it gets placed on the where does it get attached? It gets attached to the P site. I will explain you using the diagram. See, this is the smaller subunit, and you can consider different sites here. So the smaller subunit or larger subunit or the complete ribosome, they can be divisible into three parts, and these are the from right to left, the A site, then there is P site, and then there is E site. A site, P site, and E site. So these are the different sites on the ribosome, on smaller subunit as well as on the larger subunit or on the complete ribosome. There are three sites: A site, P site, and E site. A site is called amino acyl site. ACYL, amino acyl site. A site is called amino acyl site. This particular site is for attachment of the new coming tRNA along with amino acid. Amino acid will be brought there by tRNA molecules, but that is why tRNA is called transfer RNA, because it transfers the amino acid from cytoplasm onto the ribosome. So at the A site there will be entry of every tRNA, but with the exception of the first tRNA. All other tRNA molecules, they will always make their entry at the A site. They will, along with the amino acid which they bring on the on the ribosome, they will always land on the A site. So A for, you can remember A for attachment. Actually the name of A site is amino acyl site, where the new amino acid enters attached to the tRNA molecule. Okay, so this is the A site. P site is peptidyl site. Where the tRNA from A site along with amino acids attached to it, this tRNA moves from A site to P site. Okay, P site of the ribosome, and when it moves to the P site, see, tRNA present on the A site moves to the P site. tRNA has got amino acid attached to it, okay, or polypeptide chain attached to it. When the tRNA moves from A site to P site, A site will become vacant. And now on this vacant A site, there will be entry of the new tRNA with new amino acid. On the A site. The previous one was at the P site. Now what will happen? The amino, the polypeptide chain which was attached to the tRNA at the P site, it will now move. It will be now detached from this tRNA, and it will get attached to the amino acid which is attached to the tRNA at the A site. So there will be transfer of the polypeptide chain from the tRNA at P site to the new coming amino acid and tRNA at the A site. Okay. So now at the P site, the tRNA is not having any amino acid now, because whatever amino acids were there, it has transferred them to the new coming tRNA. Okay. So in this way, the tRNA at the P site, it now becomes it is called as discharged tRNA. It is called as tRNA without amino acid is called discharged, and that having amino acids is called charged tRNA. So it is now discharged. tRNA at the P site is now discharged, and then this tRNA moves to the E site, and from the E site is called exit site. E site is called exit site. Exit means to go away. So it is called exit site, E site. And from this E site, the empty tRNA, discharged tRNA not having any amino acid, this empty tRNA now moves back into the cytoplasm. It moves back into the cytoplasm. Okay. See how the initiation process of the polypeptide chain, initiation of polypeptide chain occurs. See, this is the smaller subunit. It has got 3 sites: E site, P site and A site. Okay. Now to this smaller subunit, there will occur the attachment of mRNA. In this way. See, these are the triplets of nitrogenous bases. See now in this diagram. You can see there is one triplet at the A site, there is one triplet at the P site, there is one triplet at the E site. Okay. So and this is the mRNA. This straight line, this straight linear molecule is mRNA. These are the nitrogenous bases, and group of 3 nitrogenous bases are called triplets. Now mRNA attaches to the smaller subunit of ribosome. This is the smaller subunit of ribosome, and this smaller subunit of ribosome is divisible here into the A site, P site and E site, where there will lie one triplet at the A site, one triplet at the P site and one triplet at the E site. The attachment occurs in such a way, the attachment of mRNA to the smaller subunit occurs in such a way that the first codon, start codon, initiation codon is AUG. The initiation codon is is AUG, which codes, this is codon number 1. Which codes for methionine. See, this is the exception. This is codon number 1. This is codon number 2. Okay. Then this will be codon number 3. Okay. This triplet will be codon number 3. Now see, first tRNA makes its entry on the P site. This is exceptional. This is special thing, exceptional thing. First tRNA along with its amino acid comes at the P site. Okay, comes at the P site. See, suppose this is the tRNA. And at the long end, CCA end or 3' end, it holds the amino acid. Suppose this is the amino acid, and it has, the tRNA molecule has got anticodon. So anticodon will be complementary to the codon on the mRNA. So the first codon, see here, this is the first codon of mRNA, that is AUG. Where is it present? It is present at the P site of the smaller subunit, and this is a tRNA molecule. Then what would be the anticodon on tRNA? Anticodon on tRNA would be complementary to the codon on mRNA, that is AUG. Complementary to AUG is, complementary to A is U. A pairs with U. Complementary to U is A. and complementary to G is C. Complementary to G is C. Okay. As you know, complementary to A is T, but in DNA T is present. In RNA instead of T there is U. In RNA instead of T there is U. So the tRNA will have anticodon complementary to this codon, and that anticodon will be UAC. That will be UAC. Okay. So see this is the codon AUG on the P site, and this is the tRNA molecule. Now I am drawing here. This is the tRNA molecule. Okay, and the tRNA molecule is having amino acid. Which amino acid is that? It is methionine. It is methionine. And what will be the anticodon? See, this is the anticodon. This is the anticodon, and the anticodon is UAC. The anticodon is UAC. Okay, this is the anticodon UAC, and this UAC will pair with the AUG. UAC will pair with the AUG. See, this is exceptional. The first amino acid, methionine, carried by the T. This is tRNA molecule. This is amino acid. This is tRNA. This is anticodon of tRNA. This is anticodon of tRNA. The first amino acid brought by first tRNA is accepted at the P site. First tRNA lands itself on the P site. Okay. This is exceptional. All other tRNA molecules will be coming at the A site. So you can remember A for attachment. All new tRNA molecules will come at the A site here, at this codon. They will come at the A site, with the exception of only the first one. The first tRNA lands at the P site. All the rest will land at the A site. Okay. So here there is the second tRNA now second tRNA will bring the second amino acid at the codon number 2. Suppose this codon number 2 is it is UUU. Suppose it is UUU, and UUU codes for phenylalanine, amino acid phenylalanine. So the tRNA will be having which triplet? This is the amino acid phenylalanine, and which triplet will be there on the tRNA? On the tRNA it would be complementary to UA. So this will be the triplet. Any codon will call for the corresponding amino acid, and that will be brought about there by the tRNA molecule. Okay. So in this way, this is attached, this second amino acid. See, this second amino acid. The second amino acid is accepted at the, where is it accepted? It is accepted at the A site. The second amino acid with second tRNA molecule is accepted at the A site. Only the first one is accepted at the P site, which codes for methionine, and this is the initiation codon. It lies on the P site. So attachment of mRNA to the smaller subunit in the presence of initiation factor enzyme occurs in such a way that the start codon AUG lies on the P site. The second codon will lie at the A site, and remaining codons will follow this ribosome. Okay. So in this way there is mRNA attachment to the smaller subunit. Okay. So what is the sequence? First there is attachment of mRNA to the smaller subunit. in such a way that the first codon initiation codon on mRNA, that is AUG which codes for methionine, lies at the P site. It lies at the P site, and codon number 2 lies at the A site. Such attachment of the mRNA occurs to the smaller subunit of the ribosome. Thereafter there will be attachment of the first tRNA. Mind well, the larger subunit is not there until this process is over, initiation process. At the end of initiation of the polypeptide chain process, there will be entry of the larger subunit. Now in the beginning, there is only use of the smaller subunit of the ribosome. Okay, smaller subunit first joins to the mRNA, then there is attachment of the first tRNA at the codon number 1 at the P site, and first tRNA will be having anticodon complementary to the codon AUG, that will be UAC, and it will bring the same amino acid methionine at the P site, Okay. Now when the first tRNA is attached to the P site, at the same time, when it is being attached at the P site, at the same time, second tRNA will come there at the A site, and it will bring the corresponding amino acid, second amino acid, and second tRNA will come on the A site. All the remaining amino acids will be brought at the A site. Okay, all the remaining, but only when they are brought there, after attachment of the larger subunit, So at first mRNA attaches to the smaller subunit. This is first thing. Second thing is first tRNA attaches to the P site of the ribosome at the AUG codon of mRNA, Once this is attached, now there will be attachment of the larger subunit. Of the ribosome. See, this is the larger subunit. Once the first tRNA is attached to the P site, then there will be attachment of the larger subunit of the ribosome, and complete ribosome will be produced. Okay. So the sequence is, first there is attachment of smaller subunit with the mRNA, then there is attachment of first tRNA at the first codon AUG of the smaller subunit, and then there will be attachment of the larger subunit. Of the ribosome. Okay, and this much diagram, if you see this diagram now, all this whole diagram, this whole assembly, the entire structure is called as initiation complex. This structure is called initiation complex. Okay, and how there occurs formation of initiation complex, I have told you repeatedly. First there will be attachment of smaller subunit of ribosome to the mRNA using the initiation factor, and this will be the first step. Then there will be attachment of first tRNA at the P site. Remember, all others will come at A site, but the first one comes at the P site, and this is first tRNA which will bring the first amino acid methionine to the P site, where there lies the initiation codon of mRNA AUG, and after that there will be attachment of the larger subunit of ribosome to the smaller subunit of ribosome. Larger subunit of ribosome will get attached to the smaller subunit of ribosome, and this entire structure is now completion of the initiation complex. This is now the completion of the initiation complex. Initiation process is over. The second step is elongation. And what happens in the elongation process? Elongation of the polypeptide chain. Now see, the first amino acid, tRNA with amino acid, was present at the P site. it was present at the P site. In the elongation process now, second tRNA will make its entry, the second tRNA will make its entry at the P site, it will make its entry at the P site, okay. It will at the A site, sorry, at the A site, it will make its entry at the A site. This is the largest subunit of the ribosome, and here now this is second tRNA with its corresponding amino acid, and the anticodon will be complementary to the codon number 2, C1 is the codon number 1, C1 is the triplet, that is codon number 1. This is this triplet 1 2 3, this triplet is codon number 2, it lies at the A site, okay, and corresponding tRNA, second tRNA will bring the second amino acid, okay. Now in the presence of enzyme called initiation factor, this amino acid which was present on the P site, tRNA at the P site, this amino acid now detaches from here, from this tRNA, and it gets attached to the amino acid of the new coming tRNA. This amino acid removes from here, it gets removed from here, and it gets attached here at the end of this amino acid, so now there will be attachment of these two amino acids, so that will be formation of a short chain with two amino acids called dipeptide. Di means 2, short chain of amino acids is called dipeptide. Dipeptide will be produced at site A, and this amino acid is removed now, it has handed over to the new coming tRNA, so this tRNA now becomes empty, now what happens, this mRNA now moves, this mRNA molecule now moves forward, through the distance of 1 codon. mRNA molecules moves forward over the ribosome, it slides this mRNA, this linear straight line chain, this straight chain is called mRNA, and this mRNA now moves forward, it will slide over the ribosome through the distance of 1 codon, and as there is movement, this movement of mRNA over the ribosome is called translocation. You must remember this term, translocation. There can be a question, or there can be MCQ question. What is translocation? The relative movement of mRNA over the ribosome is called as translocation, and at every moment there is a movement through distance of 1 codon, so now as the mRNA moves through the distance of 1 codon, the tRNA at the A site, is now having dipeptide chain. Instead of single amino acid, it is having now dipeptide chain, and that on the P site is now vacant, because it has handed over its amino acid to the new coming tRNA. So tRNA at the P site is now vacant, it is without amino acid, tRNA at the A site is with dipeptide, with two amino acids connected to each other, now there will occur translocation, movement of the mRNA. So as the translocation occurs through the distance of 1 codon, this mRNA, this codon on mRNA, which was the first codon C1, I have written here C1, it moves from this place to this place through the distance of 1 codon. So this codon moves from P site, to E site. So AUG, the codon AUG will now get placed at the E site, and attached to AUG attached to AUG there is tRNA. There is tRNA, but it is without amino acid. It is without amino acid, empty tRNA, and this empty tRNA will come. The codon AUG, this codon number 1 will come at the E site. Attached to this codon there is empty tRNA, that will also come to the E site, and from this E site this empty tRNA, discharged tRNA not having amino acid, is now released into the cytoplasm. So E, you can remember E for exit site. From here there occurs the exit, बाहेर जाणे, निघून जाणे, there occurs the exit of the tRNA. As the first codon AUG, codon number 1 moves from P site to E site, the second codon will now move from A site to P site. It will now move from A site to P site, because every codon will move through the distance of one codon. Every codon will move through a distance of one codon. So the codon C1 which was lying at the P site will come at the E site. The codon C2 which was previously lying at the A site will come at the P site. It will come at the P site. Along with codon number 2, there is attachment of tRNA, and this tRNA is having now dipeptide chain. It is now having dipeptide chain. Okay. So this dipeptide chain tRNA is now at the P site, and so A site will now become vacant. And here there will be entry of another tRNA with another amino acid. So because codon number 3 will be there, codon number 1 will move to the E site. At the same time codon number 2 will move from A site to P site, and codon number 3 which was lying outside at the right side of the small ribosome, it will now lie on the A site. It will lie on the A site, and in this way the process continues, the elongation process continues, and every new tRNA will bring new amino acid at the A site, with the exception of only the first which lands on the P site. All others will make their entry at the A site. Make their entry on the A site. Now I have got a video clip in which you can clearly see all these details. In this video clip you can clearly see all these details. See there is how there occurs the entry of new tRNA molecules here. I can make it more clear to you. Here it is. Okay, see in this diagram. Here you can see every tRNA is making the entry at the A site, along with the amino acid, and the polypeptide chain is handed over to it by the previous tRNA. The empty tRNA, say at the right side, which area is there on the ribosome? A site. In the middle there is P site, and at the left side there is E site. And at the bottom you can see a red line. And this red line is moving. And this moving red line is nothing but mRNA. Every time it is moving through the distance of one codon. So the new tRNA is making entry at the A site. The tRNA present on the P site is having polypeptide chain. It is handing over this polypeptide chain to the new amino acid coming to the A site, and then it is moving to the E site from where the empty tRNA is released, In this video clip you can easily understand the process of protein synthesis, that is translation process. So today I have explained you the first step of translation and little about the second step of translation. First step is initiation of polypeptide chain and second step is elongation of the polypeptide chain, and the third step, that is the termination of the polypeptide chain, that I will explain in the next lecture. Thank you very much.